September 11, 2023, for us to get into business. Rotus Oddiri is here. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Omatseye. Good morning to all our listeners out there and YouTube viewers. Good to be with you all to start a new week.
So let's get things started. It looks the best place to get things started would be in India this morning, where leaders would be departing, planes will be jetting out to their various countries after, with the portfolio investment talks already as they head back home. So I would like us to quickly do this look at Nigeria, assess the trip for Nigeria this time around.
Yeah, well, I guess, the optics looked good for Nigeria. I mean, that's the, at least the photo ops, the pictures that you saw, President Tinubu with, President Biden of the US, with Ursula von der Leyen of the European Commission, Olaf Scholz of the Chancellor of Germany.
With a patch across his eyes, so you need to mention that.
I heard he had an accident while jogging, so that's why I was wearing that patch. Narendra Modi, of course, the host, and then I think who was the South Korea's president or so, Yi Kun-soo or so, that's his name. So yeah, I mean, that was good, but I guess what we need to see to really assess how the trip went is follow-ups on the investment pledges to the tune of 14 billion, 0.3 billion that was made. That's how you would, assess the real cocoa of the trip. So yeah, it looked good pictures and everything like that, but that's the main thing, the following up on the pledges and promises made.
Now, you are a business savvy person. So when people return from business trips like this, so how long should people begin to expect to see at least the low-hanging fruits at least?
Yeah, well, that shouldn't take too long. I mean, okay, everybody gets back. You have to face some domestic issues. After maybe if like meeting someone at a networking event, give it a couple of days, send an email. Hello, I met you at this event. It was, a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Oh, by the way, that thing we discussed, can we follow up and just make sure that it's still happening? So it shouldn't be more than a few days to, just allow things to settle, maybe at best a week. And then you now start to make those phone calls and make sure that, what was promised has not been forgotten. Now, of course, for some of those promises, they probably wanted to see certain things, which on your end, you will have to follow through on your own end in order to make sure that money comes through. So yeah, it shouldn't be too long. I think they'll let them off this week, and then for next week, start making those follow-up phone calls.
Before we let the G20 just rest for a while, even though we know the ink on which with which some of these agreements were signed are still wet, so they're yet to dry up. So let's just quickly talk about some of the issues that were mentioned that became a talking point, especially globally, economic issues, emerging market debt, climate issues, and all of those. Could you walk us through it?
Yeah. So there are big issues on the world stage. As far as economic issues, that one is standard. Inflationary pressure that the world is feeling. How to, the central bank response to that. So world leaders will definitely have spoken to that. Everybody's got their own, inflation challenges that they are facing. For the US, for the Eurozone, inflation has been decelerating, but for us here in Nigeria, it still continues to climb. So how each respective country deals with that, that's heavy. Emerging market debt is definitely a big topic as well, because your debt pretty much encumbers your revenues and doesn't allow you the fiscal room that you need to take part in expansionary, like capital expenditure and so on and so forth. So debt is a big topic. There's, in fact, I saw this very, very interesting. I'll send it to you to watch this, lovely documentary on Argentina from The Economist magazine. And the similarities with Nigeria were just, I mean, as you're listening, they were talking about how they've spent so much money on subsidies. Their public wage bill is so high. economic mismanagement. They have a black market for their currency. So I mean, the similarities are just there. So there's that issue as well. Debt, of course, debt forgiveness, all those conversations are very, very relevant as well. I mean, the climate change discussion is definitely one that continues to, continues to inspire discussions around energy transition and renewables. I was on a DLR Deco in VI. I don't know how I missed this, but for a few months now, one of the banks has set up believe it or not, an electric charging station. Yeah, I just saw that recently. And so that is part of the conversation with respect to renewables and how you make an energy transition.
Are you thinking about the Tesla? Remember I talked about how you can have a Tesla now for a change.
Yes, very true, but I need money to buy it. So
okay.
The money is not there. The money is not there yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully, well, no, you know what? See, and that you actually, I know we're joking here, but Nigeria needs a liquid a financial market that is liquid enough to be able for me to put a small down payment on a Tesla and pay it off over time. We're still in a situation where you're not seeing that's across the board. People have to come up with almost the entire amount of money to purchase vehicles. You don't have a secondary market that's liquid enough to where you can put a down payment. And so that is something that needs to be addressed. Same thing for mortgages as well.
So there was the big hippopotamus in the water, in the pool, as the countries discuss issues, and that was Russia, Ukraine. Why was it that nobody was bold enough to say, Russia, look, what's really the issue?
Yeah, they were tiptoeing around that as far as the language is concerned. That's because India is still buying oil from Russia. India buys oil from Nigeria as well. And so they don't want to upset the apple cart with that regard. But I know the Western powers, the von der Leyen, Biden, Schultz, and so on, they wanted to push for more forceful language that condemns the war. You still have, wheat prices being impacted. Russia, Ukraine, large wheat exporters. Egypt, Nigeria, other countries depend so much on wheat. So that war is still definitely having an economic impact on a number of countries around the world.
This brings us to Nigeria, since it's a fine place to talk about oil. Now, Brent crude oil is again touching $90 per barrel this morning. What does the double-sided coin look like for Nigeria as we speak?
Yeah, the double-sided coin is that as oil prices are rising, that should be a good thing for us in that we should be earning more revenues. Why are oil prices rising? Again, Russia, Saudi Arabia, both committing to maintaining their output cuts in order to support prices. We're heading into the winter session, although summer is still, at least for the rest of the world, summer is still, around. We're closing down. And as we go further into, September, October, you'll be going into the colder sessions for a number of countries, particularly in Europe. So there's going to be higher demand for heating, and so higher demand for energy. That probably will put more, upward pressure on oil prices. On the flip side, for Nigeria, if we get, if you look at our trade figures, we still import, quite a lot of, petroleum, refined petroleum. That's, of course, there's a lot of FX pressure there.
Yes.
So on the one hand, and that's also oil landing costs of fuel is going to rise. You're going to be hearing some noise from oil marketers this week, I expect, for the pump price of fuel to go up.
All right, this looks like also the figures are out for the second quarter. Oil figures are out, so we'd like you to crunch it down for us before we let you get into the next story.
Yeah. The trade figures, they came out, I think, Friday or so. About 7.5 trillion in exports, about 5.2 trillion or so in imports. So about 1.2 trillion naira trade surplus for Nigeria. But it's always the same story, Omas, with our trade figures. We're still, when you break down the export numbers, it's still crude oil making up almost 80% of what we exported around the world. Europe was the top region that we exported to, followed by, I think, Asia, North America. The numbers for Africa very low, particularly for ECOWAS. We're still not trading enough. We have an African Continental Free Trade Area agreement, but unfortunately, Nigeria's trade numbers are still skewed towards the Asia, North America, Europe. Imports, funny enough, we imported the highest amount of items we imported was machinery, equipment, even higher than refined petroleum. So there's still a lot of import dependency there. And our agricultural numbers are just not encouraging. It's just cashew nuts and all that stuff that we're exporting. Those numbers need to be boosted up significantly.
All right, let's let you know we can read your messages at this time now on 0809-444-0981. Keep the messages coming in as we get to the homeward stretch of Business Express for the 11th day of September 2023. Whereas our final item on the plate for us this morning is we know there's Novak Djokovic, the Serbian, has made it picking up his fourth US slam, and that's for him is using sport now as a proxy for equal pay. Now we saw just the completed US Open, Coco Golf also, both of them walking away with $3 million in prize money. Speak to us on that one.
Yeah, well, I think the United States Tennis Association is trying to, I think Wimbledon as well, even in Australia, I think all of the slams. So in Australia, France, the UK and the US, they're all pushing for equal pay for equal work. I mean, women play best of 3 sets, men play best of 5, but they want to make sure that they earn the same amount of money. So I guess there's for Djokovic, and $3 million sounds just so wonderful. Just give me $500,000, I'm okay. Even 100K, I'm all right. So they're both earning $3 million each, equal pay. And I guess there's from what I've been reading, just the usual articles that come out around making sure that women who are doing the same work as men are earning the same money. So there's a corporate story there, I guess, for equal pay for equal work.
The U.S. women's soccer team is leading that charge for that equal pay fight. I know, but there is also this video I stumbled on it last week, where it was an interview of Serena Williams about 10 years back on the late night show, where she talked about not wanting to play Djokovic in any game at all because the men's tennis is different from. So if she had made that statement today, would you think it looks like it's not room for equal pay for men and women?
Yeah, I see the point you're trying to make, because the men, they play longer sets, although the people are arguing that they should actually let women play best of 5 now. But of course, if a female tennis player going up against a male one, the results would only go one way. But I think the argument for them is that, listen, if we're in the same field, we are both entertaining crowds. Coco Gauff had a sold out stadium for her final. Djokovic had a sold out stadium for his final. You can argue, though, that Coco Gauff had more excitement seeing a 19-year-old American finally win. So in terms of value for money for the average US tennis fan, they'll probably tell you they got more out of Coco Gauff's victory, and that's the feel-good story of the tournament, than Djokovic go. Although you can argue it either way. So just based on those parameters, the one would say, yes, Coco Gauff should be of Serena. Anybody else, or Serena's retired, but anybody else actively playing now should be earning just as much money as the men.
Oh, let's see if you've got a few clients waiting for you to respond to their message. Let's see. Rising crude oil prices is a double-edged sword for Nigeria. Can the government afford to allow fuel prices go fully with the market forces? I think not. Benga Kamu is the one speaking here.
He does make a point. Remember, the president here said they are going to cap fuel prices and won't allow them to rise. But the timing of that statement, with fuel prices climbing, again, oil marketers basically are reintroducing subsidies all over again. So yes. I don't know how much longer they can withstand that pressure with this upward pressure that we're seeing on prices going up.
Babatunde Alawo is here with a message still on oil. When it comes to oil, everybody knows what oil is. If anything happens to it, we sneeze and we catch cold. He says oil marketers are already making noise. Government still pays subsidy. So where are we heading? Our refineries must work, and we must domesticate the transactions for internal consumptions while export is traded on FX. Is that too difficult? Babatunde Alawo.
Well, he's correct. I mean, it's not too difficult. The Dangote refinery hopefully should be coming on stream soon. You will save a lot of money on FX if you stop importing refined petroleum and refine here. The price may not come down that much, but it is something that definitely needs to be done. We need to refine our own petroleum, and we need to do it quickly.
Is December feasible? The president said that this Port Harcourt will be coming on stream by December. Do you see this is September?
They've been making Port Harcourt was supposed to partially come on stream at the end of last year. They've been making these promises. I mean, we'll see. But again, even a partial Port Harcourt refinery, your full capacity for all 4 refineries is 445,000 barrels per day. How much are you going to get from? I think Port Harcourt is maybe like 60-something thousand. So yes. Look, we'll see. But this promise has been made in the past, and they didn't follow up. They didn't meet up.
All right, Rotus, looks like a fine place for us to close discussions this morning. Talk to you tomorrow once again.
Omas, thank you so much. Thanks to everybody that sent messages. I will indeed see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
All right, bye. And that's the sides of Business Express on Smooth 98.1 FM. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa. Good morning.
This is Oddiri. Stay tuned. Stay long.